All right, so let me just start from the very beginning. I don't I don't remember exactly when I started to train, but I always assume it was sometime about when I was 10 years old. So I'm 20 now, so that's about 10 years ago. Now, when I first started training, I originally trained in Kenpo Karate, which was just a little program from our charter school under Miss Bowers. And it was a pretty relaxed thing. She was just taking us through the moves, testing us, letting us get a taste for what martial arts felt like. And of course, I loved it from the very beginning. I always wanted to be the guy who could punch someone in the face and feel good about that. But eventually, that program ran out. I just became too old for it. So after that, my instructor and my good friend, Justin Sigler Smalls, welcomed me into his Taekwondo school. Now, figure this isn't Sangam Taekwondo just yet, but he brought me into his school, and understanding that my family had financial problems at that time, he also made it work for us financially. So I was able to keep training with them. And eventually, I got my blue belt with him, and we had to move. But he kept Skype calling me so that I could train with him and keep up that training. Now, this is where this school comes in. I had two friends that I'd met at my church's youth group, Max Coker and Elizabeth Doty, and they were both coming to the school. And at the time, I was looking for a new place, and they introduced me to here. And at that time, everything was brand new to me. Right now, Sangam forms seem pretty easy, pretty natural, because I've been doing them for so long. But starting as a blue belt doing Sangam 5, that was a really steep learning curve. You wouldn't believe it, but that was probably the hardest time I've ever had with a form, was going from a non-ATA form into an ATA form. That's how difficult some of the things you guys do here is. But again, time goes on. Eventually, I earned my first degree black belt. No, even before then. Let me scooch back a bit. Again, back when I'm a green belt, I was going to my church youth group with Max Coker and Elizabeth Doty. And because of that, Master Schreiber was very kind, very accommodating, and he allowed me to come attend black belt classes. And at the time, the black belt classes there were amazing. It was like walking into a wonderland. You have these recommended black belts in the back, and they're the best color belts you're ever going to see. And then you have the decided black belts, and they're the real thing. But that's only where it gets started. Then you have these second degrees, like Miss Doty. Then you have these third degrees. And I think there might have even been a couple fourth degrees there. And it was this crazy thing. Then time goes on, I get my first degree, and I'm excited to finally be with the black belts for real this time. And then second degree comes around. And something that I happen to notice is there weren't nearly as many high ranks as before. I mean, there was Mr. Oric, of course, and then Robert Deckshins was around sometimes, whenever you felt like it, and Miss Stone. But it eventually came to the point where me as a second degree, I was becoming the highest ranking class. And I got a little discouraged. And I'm going to come back to this, so keep that in the back of your mind. Now, during this last year of being a second degree, I don't know what inspired it in me, but I decided I was going to look back on all the moments in my training. And I didn't even look back on it. It just started to eat at me. I performed really strong overall because of my extended period of training. I don't think there's a time I ever really failed a test or a graduation. But at the same time, it burned in me all the things that I didn't do. It burned in me that when I first joined, Max was in demo team, and so was Izzy, Elizabeth Doty. And they kept saying, come do it with us, come do it with us, and I kept coming up with excuses to not. And then it burned in me that I went to tournaments up until I was brown belt, and then I stopped. Something happened, and I got really embarrassed, and I decided, I'm not going to do that again. And then I just pulled out of that. And it burned that I didn't go to sparring classes. All the things that were over and above, I didn't do. I felt like what I was doing was enough. But as time goes on, and as I'm reflecting in my own training, I really feel like it wasn't enough. I really feel like I could have gone a lot further. And that's why I chose what I chose for my belt. enough is not enough. Because I don't want that for anybody else in the school. I'm going to tournaments now, I'm doing extra things, I'm trying to go over and above because I want to see you guys do that. I don't want you guys to come to this point and then have that kind of regret where you feel like there's so much more you could have done. Now that we have a few more third degrees in the school, I want to be able to set that example along with Mr. Orick and Mr. Davies. So, first off, I want to thank them for being the highest ranks in the school right now. After that, of course, thank you to all of my instructors who've been such a huge help to me and been so accommodating to me along the way. First, Ms. Bowers for giving me the entry into martial arts like I wanted. Then Mr. Sigler-Smalls for helping me continue that on even when it was really hard. And of course, Senior Master Schreiber, who is the best instructor I've ever had, and also the best boss I've ever had, and also the only boss I've ever had. But that doesn't mean he's going to be pretty hard to beat. But now, and of course, thank you for all of you. Like, again, we bow because we show respect to our instructors, but we also bow to thank our students for giving us the opportunity to teach. It is such a privilege to be able to work with you guys here, and I'm so thankful that I'm blessed to have you guys in my life. And of course, thank you to my mom, because I know, even though you never showed me the numbers, you always had reasons. I know that financially it was hard, and sometimes it was really hard. But you saw us as a priority, and you pushed me forward towards my dream of being an instructor. So thank you so much. So everybody, please give yourselves a big hand.